What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the AFC South Roundtable powered by BetUS. Receive a 125% bonus. The link is in the description below. It is Thursday night, and we got the crew right here with us. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, we just came off of finding out that the Houston Texans are your official 2023 AFC South champs. All right. With that being said, they were able to defeat the Indianapolis Colts to get in. We're going to talk about that game, and we're going to go over the game that the Texans have versus the Browns coming up next. How are you feeling today, Ruben?
Man, I am feeling fantastic. Houston Texans, they make NFL history. First time a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback win the division. The Houston Texans, their future is looking bright. They defeated the Indianapolis Colts 23-19 in a win situation at Indianapolis. No one thought CJ Stroud was going to rise up to the occasion, but he absolutely did. He announced himself to the world with a beautiful 75-yard bomb on the first play of offense for the Houston Texans, and they win the game, man. Shout out to Houston. It's absolutely crazy to see. I'm feeling fantastic.
Man, oh man, appreciate that, man. What about you, UCF Jaguar? How you feeling?
How am I feeling? You asked me how I'm feeling. Feeling awful, man. The Jaguars, I mean, they straight up choked, unfortunately. And you got to give credit to the Houston Texans. Look, I talked a lot of smack, and I'm also someone that can own up to it. Look, the Jaguars, all they had to do was go 2-4 down the stretch, went 1-5. The Jaguars were awful down the stretch, and Houston Texans were flat out the better team, and they earned it. And, now they're representing the AFC South in the playoffs. So credit to them.
All right. Derek, how are you feeling, man?
I mean, about as good as I possibly can be. It is what it is. Indy had a chance to win this game, and it really sucks that our season ended like this, but, somebody had to lose. And at the end of the day, Indianapolis was not predicted to be in the spot that we were in a win-and-in situation in week 18 of NFL football. And I feel really good about the future of this team, and that's what I'm grasping onto. Yeah, the loss sucks. Indy had a chance to win it, which makes it suck even more. But like I said, I feel confident in this team's future and where they're headed at.
And last but not least, Titan Rossi.
Yeah, man, it's kind of a sad day for Titans fans. It was, knowing that this could be King Henry's last run with the Titans. Obviously, Vrabel got fired today. So it's kind of for me, I am hopeful for the Titans for the future. I'm tired as a Titans fan and watching this team be stuck in the Stone Age with their offense. It's been like this for 20 plus years, ever since they've been in Nashville. And I think Amy Adams is wanting to change that. And I'm excited to see if they can evolve and go into the future, in this league that it is now, and kind of get the offense where it needs to be.
All right. Well, thanks so much for that. Listen, I want to ask you guys. I want to ask the three teams that are not in the playoffs before we come to you, Ruben. We'll go right back with you, Titan Rossi. Where do the Titans go from here?
You could say they could only go up, but really, they could go down. This is a pivotal moment in their franchise. They could this could be a terrible, terrible move for them, firing Mike Vrabel, or this could be a really good thing. I'm almost 90% certain that they're going to bring an offensive-minded head coach. They're really after Bobby Slowick from Houston. Rand Carthon has ties with him from San Francisco. A lot of people are saying it's already 100%, count on Slowick being the head coach. I don't know. But I'm excited about the future of this team, and hopefully Rand Carthon is the right guy for the job, because if not, it could set us back even longer.
Man, tough times, man. What about you, Derek? Where do the Colts go from here?
It's basically just improving this roster. You got the head coach of the future and a pretty good coaching staff for that matter. I feel really good about where they are at this moment. You just have to continue to develop your quarterback in Anthony Richardson, who, again, like I mentioned, people don't want to talk about it, and people outside the Colts organization don't understand it. But Anthony Richardson is still only 21 years old and had a phenomenal start to the year before his injuries inevitably took him out of this season. And he looked far and above beyond what most Colts fans thought he would be. So you, as Steichen, getting a chance to have him all off season to prepare and develop his skills even more. And, here in about a month and a half, I think he's about ready to start throwing the football again. So that comes into play, and just fixing the gaps in this offense and this defense. You got to try to find a better weapon for Anthony Richardson come this next year. You need to improve your secondary. You got way too many young guys out there right now, and there's some holes that need to be filled there. You need to try to get some vets in there. You also want to try to see who is the best player available in this upcoming draft and the free agency as well, to try and just build a more solid foundation here in Indianapolis. I like the talent that we have, and I like the direction that the Indianapolis Colts are headed, but definitely still need to work on this roster just a little bit.
Well, I want to ask you a follow-up question to that. When you saw the Jags lose, how did that feel, knowing at that point, man, if we would have only won?
I'll tell you what, the first thing I did was text my brother and my co-host of my podcast, Cody. We all said the same thing. Man, what if that made it that much harder? Because, at that point, I was saying if the Colts had won against Houston, then I was going to stream that game on Sunday, and to have been able to stream that game and see that happen for Indianapolis, if that would have happened, man, how crazy top of the world we would have been. It's just, again, another one of those things where, if you're Steichen, you're telling your team that was a missed opportunity. Look at what just happened. Do not let it happen again. That's something that you need to tell yourself. And yep, I will say it did hurt.
Man, oh man, UCF Jaguar, where do the Jags go from here? And before you answer that, I want to know, when you saw that game on Saturday, what was going through your mind before your game?
The game didn't have really impact on the Jaguars, is because, look, the Jaguars won, they would have won the AC South. So, I was just watching it as a pure fan of football. I wasn't pulling for one side or the other. I guess maybe I was leaning toward the Texans winning just because I picked them. But I don't know. It was a fun game, and it was exciting. And I'm just glad, because I did stream it, so I was just glad that it was a good game. But it's hard to say where the Jaguars go from here, because, like, who are the Jaguars? Are they that 8-3 football team that we saw at the beginning of the season, or are they the 1-5 football team in the last 6 games of the year? It's really tough to tell. The Jaguars right now, they got to look internally to see, like, what happened, what went wrong. They already fired everybody on the defensive staff, which, I think it's right to do it, because the defensive scheme, I thought, was really bad. All over the place, there was just guys that weren't playing to, like, their strength when it comes to, like, putting them in their best positions. There was a lot of players that just weren't playing with much passion, that weren't, like, just didn't seem like they were giving a lot of effort. So, but I don't think even the defense was the biggest of the problems. The biggest of the problems really is, I think, the general manager for building this team the way it is and constructing the way it is. I'm not going to go through the past drafts that our GM has had, but it has been very good. And, you point out a lot of stuff, and, this is supposed to be a Super Bowl run year, and you put together just an awful offensive line. You have just all these different things going wrong. And look, I fully believe in Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback, but we have to make sure that he doesn't turn into a Matthew Stafford where, he wastes his career in an organization that's just not a good organization, and then he runs off somewhere else and shows the world what he can really do, and that's exactly what Matthew Stafford did. So I'm hoping that's not the case with the Jaguars. They got to figure out what they need to do and who they are, and just figure things out. And right now, I mean, at this point, it's really, really difficult to pinpoint what's wrong with the Jaguars internally when you don't really know what's going on internally.
Well, let me ask you this. I want to double back here. Nobody knew it was going to come down to the Texans Colts because they didn't know you were going to lose. Who did you pick in that Texans Colts game again?
I picked the Texans to win. And I think I had the exact score right before the safety happened too.
Really? What was that again? Hold on.
I forget what it was, but
it was 23-17, and then the safety happened.
I went back and looked. I'm like, I'm gonna get this exact score right, and the guy ran out the back of the end zone. I'm like, oh, this is gonna happen.
What did you think of the game, though? Did it go exactly how you visioned it?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I said that the better quarterback was going to win at the end of the game, and CJ Stroud had a really, really nice game-winning drive at the end of the game. He was making tough throws. He was dishing out there, and look, he played really good this year. I mean, the end of the season, he was definitely the best quarterback in the AFC South, at least the way it played out. I would have loved to see what Trevor Lawrence could have done had he not been so injured, but he was injured, and he went out there and played, and it wasn't great. So I just had to go off what I saw. So CJ Stroud was a beast. They just have to, Texans are in a spot where the Jaguars were the Texans last year. We were in a position where playing with house money, you know what I mean? Like we're here a year early, but now it's all about don't let it get into the young players' heads. You know what I mean? Don't let them think that they're the big bad team, because guess what? This offseason, every article is going to say, I've got the Texans win, at least a lot of them. Texans to the Super Bowl. CJ Stroud, MVP quarterback. Are they going to read into those press clippings? Because the Jaguars definitely did this year, and it didn't do the Jaguars very well. So we'll just see how it all plays out. NFL is year to year. Every team in the AFC South is getting better, and the AFC should only get better. So it's a tough spot right now for the Jags.
Well, obviously the Texans are the kings on the mountain right now. Ruben representing the Houston Texans and doing a great job doing it, man. Listen, that Colts game, Ruben, what were your thoughts as it was going on, and how did you all come out with the victory?
Well, man, it was another heart attack. It's been that way all year for the Houston Texans. Games coming down to the very end. But like I said, the best quarterback is going to win this game, and CJ Stroud looked fantastic. Like UCF just mentioned, that game-winning drive. I mean, there was one play where he was running for his life, throws it up in the air, and then Nico Collins diving to get it for the first down. And then a couple plays later, pressure on his face, slings it to Nico Collins, and those two had a connection the entire game. Nico Collins was 5 yards short of 200 yards, and the game ended up coming off of Gardner Minshew missing the throw. And I said this all last week. I even said this on the Bring the Juice podcast. Gardner Minshew is not a quarterback that could win you a football game, but he is definitely a quarterback that can lose you one. And he lost the game for the Indianapolis Colts. You had a superhuman performance by Jonathan Taylor. We hadn't allowed a 100-yard rusher all season. Jonathan Taylor was almost at 200. But it was Gardner Minshew's inability to make plays. And then the last one on 4th and 1, just not a good ball. The running back, the backup, like running back, he couldn't get his hands on it. I mean, he did, but it falls incomplete. The best quarterback won the game. Houston Texans going to the postseason and AFC South champions.
It's crazy, man. I mean, they were just sitting there creeping behind the whole season, and at the last minute they came in and took it all. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this stream is powered by BetUS. Receive a 125% bonus. The link is in the description of the video. It is also pinned at the top of the chat as well. And ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button as you watch the video. Share the video, let your friends and family members know about it as well, and make sure that you subscribe to AFC South Roundtable right here on Roundtable Sports. All right. Again, the link is in the description below. As you can see, BetUS has the Cleveland Browns even money right now, but they are -3. UCF Jaguar, what would you do on this? Looking at these spreads, would you take the Cleveland Browns -3, winning by more than 3, or would you take the Houston Texans to cover?
I think Browns win, but I believe that the Texans do cover.
Tight game, huh?
Yeah, I think it's a tight game. I mean, look, I know we're going to go into predictions a little bit later, but I just think the Browns are a really good team.
Man, what about you, Titan Rossi? Which one would you take if you were to put something on here in BetUS?
I would take the Browns on this one too. I mean, their defense is so freaking good, you know, and like I would just, I don't know, if I was a betting man, I would go with the Browns on this one. I do think the Texans have a chance though, it being it's in Houston, right? It being at
Yes,
home,
sir.
they're the division winner. So you know, I definitely think Houston has a chance, but I would go with the Browns on this one.
Browns. What about you, Derek? What bet would you put in on this one?
Man, everything in me says that Cleveland wins this game, but I would say that just from betting purposes, again, Houston may be a little bit banged up, but Houston didn't have basically a bye week for their team. You know, they are more of their continuity with their team is much better right now. I'm telling you, when these teams have these bye weeks, even if it's late in the season, it does something to the players. They struggle to figure it out. And it being in Houston and being in that sort of circumstance, the Browns should be the favorite, but I would say money line, I would take the bet for the Houston Texans from me.
All right, I'll get yours in a moment, Ruben, because your team in this division is the only team that has a chance to go to the Super Bowl. And speaking of the Super Bowl, BetUS, the big game, they are giving away 2 tickets. You can take yourself and a friend. All you have to do is go in the chat, and the instructions will be pinned below in the chat on how you can win 2 Super Bowl tickets, one for you and one for a friend, ladies and gentlemen. Again, place a bet on any NFL line and share your bet slip on X, formerly known as Twitter. Minimum of $25 bet. Tag BetUS_official and tag the friend you are taking with you. All right. Use the hashtag BetUS with the Super Bowl number. The instructions are listed below, ladies and gentlemen. The contest will end on January 25th. The winner will be announced on the 26th. This is Twitter only. We don't want you to miss out on that opportunity. So go in the description, follow the rules to win 2 Super Bowl tickets. We already know how much those cost. So make sure you go in and do that. Ruben, your team is going to the playoffs and has a chance of winning a Super Bowl. How does it feel to be in the playoffs, and how do you see your team performing versus the Browns?
Man, I'm blessed, dude. I didn't expect to be here. You know, all the preseason rankings had the Houston Texans once again selecting top 5 in the draft, a bottom roster. I think ESPN only predicted us 4 wins. So to be in the postseason and get 10 wins, it's just absolutely insane. The past 2 years, the Houston Texans had 7 wins combined. Now they just got 10 solely this year and looking to get 1 more and try to go get that Lombardi trophy. As long as I have CJ Stroud, I feel like I can win every single game that I am playing in. He is that special. He's shown it all the way back in training camp. Hell, all the way back when he was drafted, when he was crying in front of his family. And what did he say? He said, "I bring me." And then seeing him hype up the Houston Texans against the Indianapolis Colts, he said it. We're too special to lose. We're too fucking special. And the Houston Texans are special. And watch CJ Stroud take us to the promised land.
Man, you guys haven't been here in a while, man. Are there any nerves?
Yes, because it's been since 2019. And new head coach D'Amico Ryans, new quarterback CJ Stroud. How are we going to handle the big game? But the Houston Texans have been in big games this year. They won 1 in Jacksonville. They won 1 at Cincinnati. Obviously, their biggest win was the one against Indy, that felt like a playoff game in itself. So from what I've seen, the Houston Texans, they do rise to the occasion. It's just, can they close it out and win it? They did it on Saturday. Hopefully we can see it for the next 4 games.
Well, your counterparts rode you off. What would you pick right here in that game for the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Texans?
Just give me the Houston Texans to win, man. Let me get that that +3. Let me get some money in my pocket. I will not bet against the Houston Texans. I haven't betted against them all year.
So Ruben's going to take +3 with the Houston Texans, ladies and gentlemen, on BetUS, where you can receive a 125% bonus with the link in the description of the video. Let's hear a quick word from our sponsor.
BetUS, America's favorite sports book, where you can bet on everything anytime. Sportsbook, casino, horse racing, live betting, and more. We have the best bonuses in the industry. That's right, get a 125% sign-up bonus. And to celebrate our 30-year anniversary, we are giving up to 30 risk-free bets, a truck, Super Bowl tickets, and more. Don't miss out. Play smart. Join now. BetUS, where the game begins.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, BetUS, receive a 125% bonus. Again, supporting our sponsors is supporting the channel. Now, Ruben, these 3 guys, we already know that they're going to hate on the Houston Texans. They're basically picking the Browns on BetUS. I got to hear from UCF Jaguar. Why are you going against the Texans in this? Tell me, what do you see happening in this game?
I mean, I know I've on this roundtable, we trash each other's teams, but this really isn't anything against the Texans. I mean, I would pick the Texans to beat maybe a couple other teams in these AFC South or in these AFC playoffs. It's just the Browns, I legit think, are like a top 3 team in the AFC right now. When I saw them just play a few weeks ago against the Texans, I know CJ Stroud wasn't playing, but Flacco was throwing the ball all over the place. I mean, their defense is so good, and I just think that the Browns are really just such a complete team. I mean, they're a team that has suffered injuries as bad as anybody, but they go out there and they find ways to win games. A lot of times they just shove opponents' faces in the dirt, and they're a hard-nosed football team. They're a physical team. I just think this is. I think the Browns will probably be in the AFC Championship game. I truly believe that. So I think it's going to be obviously a lot closer than the last time they played on Christmas Eve, just because CJ Stroud will be playing. And I know, last time Texans basically had no shot because CJ Stroud wasn't going to play. But yeah, I just think that Browns are just a really good football team. And I see honestly the Browns winning this one 24-23.
24-23, that close, man. That's a thriller. Well, talk to me, Titan Rossi. How do you see this one ending up?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with UCF on a lot of points with the Browns. I mean, you look at their defense; it's absolutely phenomenal. Especially their pass rushers. Really well coached team, hard nosed. They kind of remind me of like some Titans teams from way back in the day. They just get it done. They love to control the clock. They're number 1 in the league in time of possession. So, if they keep CJ Stroud off the field, I don't know. I see the Browns pulling this one out. I think Houston does have a shot though. Like, I don't think, I'm not saying that, the Browns are going to 100% winning, and there's no chance at all for Houston. I think there is a chance. I think there is a chance with CJ Stroud at the helm. It's a tough environment, and he handled that environment this past weekend. Can he do it again in the playoffs? I'm going to say Cleveland 24, Houston 21 on this one.
Yeah, another close one. All right, last one, Derek. Your final words on that game. How do you see it happening?
Well, listen, in fairness to myself, I did say if I was a betting man, I would take the Houston Texans, all right? Now, I want the Browns to win, obviously, but then again, I still think the Texans have a really great shot at it. from the Browns' perspective, I think that, yes, we saw them play them multiple weeks ago, and clearly the Browns were just by far and away the better team because CJ Stroud wasn't there, and the Texans just couldn't really do much. I think this time around, the Browns are just in a situation where their defense is just so locked in, and the problem you have with what we just saw last week against for Houston, they didn't run the ball well against a team that has not been good this year at stopping the run. Devin Singletary was virtually a non-factor in the game. So if that becomes an issue, then CJ Stroud will have to throw the football 35, 40 times to try to win this game. And yes, he can do that, but given the situation of he's only got really Nico Collins right now, and even if Noah Brown and Robert Woods are back, they're still not 100%. And I trust those corners over there with Cleveland. And from Cleveland's offensive perspective, I mean, again, we saw it just the other day. They didn't even really, they weren't able to stop the run against Indy. And I said that would happen with Jonathan Taylor. I still think their offense is going to be able to move things. So, yeah, I think it'll be a close game, just like all the others. But I think the Browns could win this one 27-21.
27-21. Man, Ruben, there's no love, man. But you know what? You've been standing H-Town down until you drown.
Yes,
Man,
sir.
final words before we get out of here and we all go witness you guys play this Saturday.
Final words are you're going to witness CJ Stroud put the city on his back like he's done it all year. Last time the Houston Texans played the Browns, it was 36-22. Case Keenum and Davis Mills both played in that game. It was just not good whatsoever. But now you're going against CJ Stroud, a guy who is in a top 3 in almost every single category. It is also in the age. This is going to be the first time all year that NRG is probably jam-packed, and it is going to be just such a vibe and a great atmosphere there. It is going to be a close game. That Browns defense, it's absolutely legit, and they gave the Houston Texans problems the last time, sacking Case Keenum 3 times, and I think they sacked Davis Mills about once. Vice versa, the Houston Texans defense needs to get Joe Flacco on the ground. Last time he played against the DeMeco Ryans defense, 368 yards, 3 touchdowns. Did give you 2 INTs, though, but he was just having fun with you. You cannot have Amari Cooper go off for 225 yards again. Derek Stingley is going to have to travel with him the entire game, as well as Steven Nelson if they do decide to just stay where they're at, which is what they usually do. But because Amari Cooper just gashed you last time, you might have to put some extra special attention towards him. Overall, this is going to come down to the Houston Texans winning the game 20-17 off of a Kaimi Fairbairn 53-yard game-winning field goal. That is how it is going to go, and we are just going to be having a good old time here in H-Town.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of the AFC South Roundtable. Good luck to the Houston Texans. They are the last remaining team within the division representing, trying to make it to the Super Bowl. One last caveat. I think both teams are going to score over 30. Who's going to score the most? We'll find out on Saturday. We love you all. Until next time, check out BetUS. Supporting our sponsor is supporting the channel. We are out. Peace.
Peace.